Downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left base, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final. You're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold. Take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final. Runway 9 clear to land.
Okay, all right. Let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see. What we got? A tricycle. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger. Down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here. You clear to land on 9 all the way to the white dot. Go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway, and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern, or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep your airborne. Keep it airborne. You do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. Clear to land on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow out follow on the final. And as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, you're on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around. Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that after 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, three, two, one.
Hello, everybody, and hello, people out there. Thank you very much for joining us on what is an absolutely bloody stunning evening. It's just gorgeous out there. But I won't try and chase you away. Thank you very much for coming. Before I forget, this time, because I forgot last week at the beginning, I saved myself, I think. Thank you very much, ForeFlight, for sponsoring the live stream. We couldn't bring it to you all without ForeFlight. And here's the ForeFlight Sentry that I've been flying with and testing. It's an ADSB in device, not an ADSB out device. It comes with a couple of other things like a carbon monoxide detector built in and a standby AHAR. So if you want to know more about that, go to www.flywithsentry.com/flyer. And again, thank you very much. ForeFlight. And, well, I guess we should probably deal with this now. Some of you out there, particularly the sharp people out there, will notice that there's only 3 of us and that Johnny is not here. Again.
It's already been being asked in the comments. He's clearly missed by people.
Where's Johnny? Well, Johnny is basically on holiday again. He started with us. When did he start with us? I can't remember now.
January.
Started with us in January.
January. He's had more holiday than yeah.
He's at the end of May. He's had more holiday than the 3 of us have had in the last 25 years put together. So there you go. So anyway, so Johnny's on holiday. We haven't got rid of him yet. Maybe if he makes a regular thing of it, we'll have to kind of recruit a part-time 4th presenter or something. Who knows?
We'll have to get Mr. Salmon along.
Mr. Salmon, yeah. Well, we could get Mrs. Salmon, but I guess he goes on holiday with Mrs. Salmon, doesn't he?
Yeah, probably.
So anyway, there you go. So thank you very much. Right. Before we move on to the news, we've got a ton of news tonight. We got the weather from Simon Keeling. Simon went and stood in a windy field and sent us this recording of the weather. So here you go. No, really, here you go.
Evening everyone, hope that you are well this evening. Bank holiday weekend is upon us and it looks as if the weather is going to be playing ball as well. As always, it's going to be a little bit tricky getting there. Detail is going to be a bit difficult to pin down over the next couple of days, but generally it's looking like for all of us we'll be seeing some flyable weather. Now, some beautiful scenes in the sky this afternoon. The halo around the sun caused by ice crystals at high levels ahead of the warm front that's coming in across Ireland this evening. Yeah, that's exactly what you'd expect to see ahead of a warm front, but a beautiful example of it. Now, as far as the weather for Friday is concerned, western areas of the country, we've got a front that's bringing some low cloud. It's bringing some drizzle as well. I think bases of 500 to 1,000 feet, tops on that could be at 12,000 feet, reduced visibility too. So really not great conditions across western parts of the UK during the course of Friday. Eastern areas do fare better. The cloud base is tending to lift 2,000 to 3,000 feet. Visibility is going to be better as well, although always a fair amount of cloud around. Maybe 1 or 2 showers developing along the eastern coast as well on Friday afternoon, so it's quite a complicated picture. Check out 215 if you're thinking of going flying tomorrow. Generally, I think in those eastern and central areas it's okay, but just check the detail in the morning. Now, on to Saturday, again, still lots of cloud around. We've got the remnants of a front hanging around through the course of Saturday. Again, it brings a fair amount of cloud, most of it out towards the west, but across eastern areas tending to be drier, brighter, the cloud breaking, and I think generally not a bad day. 3,000 foot bases, tops probably about 6,000 or 7,000 feet for many of us. Again though, just those western coasts could see some low cloud lingering, particularly western coasts of Scotland, but even that will tend to lift as the day progresses. Now for Sunday, a better day, higher pressure really building in and the cloud is going to be dispersing as well, so looks like we'll see lots of sunshine, maybe 1 or 2 morning mist patches, but they'll clear quickly, and then for many areas actually very little cloud. If we do see cloud bases 5,000 feet, tops at about 7,000 feet. Some cloud for Western Ireland and for Western Scotland, but very little elsewhere, and a good day for flying. Sea breezes around the coast. And then for Bank Holiday Monday, another pretty good day. Looks like cloud breaks, some decent spells of sunshine around, bases of around 4,000 to 5,000 feet, tops at about 7,000 feet. Decent visibility as well. Just got to watch for that low cloud affecting more western areas, but generally it's looking pretty good. Who'd have thought that was a Bank Holiday weekend day? Now, if you want to know more about halos around the sun and things like that, get yourself along to Weather School. I've just announced the new dates for the next Aviation Weather School Part 1 course. It's going to be on the Sundays, notice the Sundays, because that's what you asked for, of the 18th and 25th of July, between 09:30 and 12:30 on those Sunday mornings. We're already booking up, so if you want to book your place and get yourself along to Aviation Weather School, you'll be able to forecast 5 days in advance with more confidence. Generally build your confidence in flying forecasts as well, and just know know that when you leave your airfield and go off for a day trip somewhere, you can get back and trust that forecast that you see. That's what Weather School is all about. So it'll be great to see you there. Whatever you do, have a fantastic bank holiday weekend and fly safely, enjoy the weather, and keep the sun shining. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Wow, there you go. Thank you very much, Simon.
In the comments, there was a definite feeling that his shirt wasn't loud enough.
I was wondering, if you go to weather school enough, do you think you can predict when it's going to be windy, so you can take like a little microphone cover out or something?
No, it just adds to it, doesn't it?
Just asking. Anyway, I hope you're having a great weekend, Simon. Have a good one.
Someone's asking how Simon's license is coming along, and I know Simon is closing in on the on first solo. So hopefully next week, if he's on live, he'll be able to bring us up to date.
Yeah, that'd be good. Let's hope so. So, time for some news.
Sounds like.
Definitely.
Okay, I think it's my turn first this week. So the big news for many people this week was something that goes by the name of ORS 41490, Official Record Series 4 1490. CA put this out. This is the whole thing about FAA, people flying with FAA certificates in the United Kingdom who live in the United Kingdom need to do something about it by December. As you can imagine, I've asked the CA quite a few questions about this. And I asked the DFT quite a few questions about this. And one or two of those questions have got answered. Not all of them, funnily enough. So what's it all about to start with? Well, the CA, the official line is that the derogation that was in place to enable people with FAA licenses to fly in the United Kingdom, if they're based in the United Kingdom, expires in June 2021. This is true. The same applies in EASA land, which is where it came from in the first place. And the EASA derogation has been extended effectively to June 2022, although not in every single country, but it has been extended to June 2022. The Civil Aviation Authority, as they're very keen, or the Department for Transport, I should say, as they're very keen, reminding everybody we have now left the EU. We took back control, apparently. Let's not do too much in the way of politics, shall we? And what did they do with that control they got? Well, they shafted us. No, they shafted people. No. They took, sorry, I didn't mean that. They, what am I saying? That wasn't in my notes. They said, we're not going to do June 2022. No, we're going to do December 2021. So after the 21st of December 2021, if you are flying with an FAA certificate and you're permanently resident in the UK, flying recreationally, that is, you will need to go and get yourself a CA license. And if you've got an FAA instrument rating, you'll need to get yourself a CA instrument rating. I don't know why. Another exemption came out today, and that exemption said, this is true. This lasts until further notice, until we stop it. They could have done the same here, but no, they said, I know. Well, I don't know whether they said that or not, but somehow, mistake or otherwise, they said, let's screw these people over for a while, shall we? Yeah, let's screw it. Why not? I have no idea what the advantage is. There is no benefit. They're basically making a whole load of people who've been flying completely safely and completely happily go and spend a whole bunch of money just to carry on what they've always been doing. What's the point in that? It's ridiculous. I mean, it's a kind of weird. As it happens, I had a CA license first, so it doesn't directly affect me. But you've got this stupid situation where I can fly my N-registered airplane with my FAA certificates anywhere in the world, apart from the country I live in. Thank you very much, DFT. That's a really good one, or CA, or whoever did it. And why are you doing it? What's the benefit? So one of the questions I've asked is, why are you doing this? What's the benefit? Where's the policy coming from? And at the moment, this is the answer. Yep, that's exactly what's coming back. Nothing so far. Silence. So we'll continue asking that question, try and figure it out. It could just be that someone decided that they don't like the FAA or whatever. But given that the CA was in their roadmap, rubbish things earlier on, was saying that we're going to take a big look at flight crew licensing. We're going to simplify it. We're going to make it the best in the world. And this is their first move. Way to go, people. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, that's ridiculous. So that's the news. If you're looking for some good news in there, sorry, are you going to say something, Ed?
I was. Someone in the comments, Aaron P says, doesn't Grant Shapps fly an NREG aeroplane?
Funny enough, yes. He does. He flies an NREG Saratoga. I suspect he probably doesn't get that much time to fly it at the moment. But he does fly an NREG Saratoga, and
he's going to have to do something.
I just don't understand. Right, just to clear up a couple of things, this doesn't mean that you can't fly NREG aircraft in the United Kingdom. It means that you need a CA license not an FAA license to do so. If you want to fly outside of the United Kingdom, you'll also need your FAA license. So you just got to go and get one and spend some more money for it. Now, the good news, if you're looking for good news, is that if you have an instrument rating in 50 hours under IFR, you can relatively easily, and I mean relatively easily, get a CA instrument rating by taking a test. And you don't have to do theoretical knowledge exams if you've got the 50 hours. So it's not as bad as it could be, but it's still pretty bad given that it's probably going to cost you a couple of grand, and that will enable you to do what you could always do before. Do we know how many FAA holders in the UK this affects?
Good question.
It's a good question. I'm not sure. I did see a number of about 7,000 banded around, but I'm not sure if that was UK or Europe or if it's larger. I mean, the real problem, to be perfectly honest with you, is that there are a large number of people who would just go, yet another complication, yet more hoops to jump through. This is just ridiculous. It's pointless. And there, and unfortunately, there you go. IR conversion details in standards document A1A. Yeah, basically, there's a whole bunch of stuff. And if you look at the conversion things, looking at the competency-based IR, you can see it in there. So, but that's December, and we'll see what happens.
Happy Christmas in time for December.
Yeah.
Sorry?
It'll be happy Christmas in time for December. Sorry, Dave.
Sorry. If you go to the States and decide to live in the States, you can't fly there on your CAA license. You have to get an FAA airman certificate.
Yeah, and you can go to the FIS, you can fill out a form and go to the FISDO, and they'll give you one. And that's the end of it. And they'll say, right, thanks, good day, have a nice day, and off you'll go.
Is that because they're the best place in the world for GA?
No, we're the best place in the world for GA, aren't we? We're heading in that direction. And with decisions like this, we're just moving a step close. No, we're not moving a step closer. It's just ridiculous. It's mad. I mean, you can fly G-Reg in the US on a UK license. No problem at all. I went to Oshkosh with a friend of mine called Stephen. We took his Malibu, G-Reg Malibu, with G-Reg licenses, UK licenses. No problem at all. I think you'd probably need psychiatric testing if you wanted to base a G-Reg aircraft in the USA. Because there's absolutely no good reason to do that whatsoever. But anyway, enough of my rant. We've only got an hour tonight, so I can't carry on ranting even more. This is just ridiculous. I will keep everyone in touch with what happens when I hear from the CA, as I will be working on the freedom of information thing that I got, that 133 pages gradually being worked through. So we'll see. I'm not quite sure I've got the bravery to ask for another freedom of information thing to see if I can figure out what the motivation was behind this. I'll be getting no Christmas cards from Department of Transport at this basis. Right. Yeah. Anyway, enough from me. Ed, let's talk about these breaking out.
Yes. So obviously last week you will have heard and seen in the news the CAA and LAA and BMA all a little bit at odds over this consultation on A826 and A37 approvals. This week, the CAA put out a statement, which we understand is endorsed by the CAA, which said, we appreciate that the LAA and other stakeholders have expressed concern on the current consultation on CAP 503, specifically A826 and A37. The CAA and LAA had a positive meeting on Monday where both parties acknowledged the importance of collaborative working. There's a mutual understanding that the CAA has the right as the UK's independent safety regulator to conduct consultations as and when they are deemed necessary. Both organisations are committed to the continuation of the current consultation process and developing the best possible outcome based on information obtained from this. You can still make your thoughts known about the consultation up until midnight tonight. So if you haven't done, please do so. It's important stuff. But it does seem like there's a little bit of a rollback on that, which is kind of what we were hoping for. So let's see. But there's definitely there's some oddball stuff in that would make permit microlight and LAA permit operations just more difficult. So
there's the BMAA have a really good and clear explanation on their website, and with a few suggestions should you want to go and. Yes, and
I saw Rob Hughes, who's the president of BMA. I think I'm right in saying president of BMA, but he posted on one of the Facebook groups a few lines, which was a real clear It's just like, the best thing people can do is go back and quote these things. I might see if I can find that, and I'll stick that in the comments. So and give you an email address. So if any of you haven't commented and want to do so, but don't want to go trawling through the whole consultation at this point, that might be a good basis. Yeah, check it out.
You need to do it tonight, and it's unusual that I do this during the news. But given we've had 2 stories, I just wanted to remind people before we move on to the next story that our leaders are determined to make the UK the best place in the world for general aviation. So the whole thing with the LAA, with the BMAA, and with the FAA licensing thing, way to go. Great strides there. Not. Anyway, sorry. Dave.
Yes, there's a few comments in about my microphone being a bit quiet.
You're loud now.
It's worked during a tech test. Is it okay now?
You're strength 5 now, Dave.
Strength 5 now. Okay, well, I am enunciating more clearly. So the story I've got first, been working on that word.
But yeah, away.
The story I've got is about Tecnam. Tecnam are going to be represented in the UK fully for the first time ever, really. They've got a company called Aerion Aviation. Aerion means east. I don't know why they call themselves that, but Aerion Aviation, based at Biggin Hill Airport. They're currently a Pilatus aircraft agent, and they've taken on Tecnam. Then they're going to be marketing and supplying service and maintenance for the whole range of Tecnam aircraft. And they're going to have 3 demonstrators later this year. These are aircraft they've bought themselves, invested the money in, so it's a serious investment they're making here. They will have the new P2010 with the diesel engine. They'll have a P2006 twin, and they'll also have a bit later on, they'll have the P2012 Traveller, which is the mini airliner. But they'll be pushing all of the range. I spoke to the boss, Edwin Brinkmeyer, earlier today, and he emphasized the point that he personally is a very passionate aviator. He's been flying since the age of 14. He flies around in a Pilatus PC-12 most of the time, but he's really looking forward to having these Tecnams to fly around in as well. So all sounds pretty good, really. They're going to be aiming at the flight schools as well with the P2008, which is their 2-seater aircraft. Quite a few flight schools in Europe have taken this on. It all seems good, really.
It's going to be, I think, well, a couple of things. There was a Tecnam dealer in the UK. It used to be Tim Orchard, didn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Tecnam stuff. And then the other thing is looking for. I can't wait till we go and have a chat with them. I love the Tecnam aircraft. They're all great aircraft. But when it comes to, I'm looking forward to flying them. So you walk out on the ramp and you go, I know there's the P2010 diesel or there's a PC-12. Which one should I take? Oh, yeah. Much as they're all great aircraft, I'd be heading for the PC-12.
Well, there's a touch difference in price.
Oh yeah, I said fly, not pay.
I'm still gutted that Tecnam had a side project once to make a little Rotax 912 powered unlimited aerobatic airplane called the Snap, and it never happened.
No,
I'm sure there was a good reason, but
yeah. That was a project they took over from somebody else, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
It was, yeah. Anyway, the other thing Edwin told me was that they're very keen on pushing the electric and hybrid aircraft because Tecnam are working with Rolls-Royce to develop an electric version, and they're also working with, I think it's Rotax, to produce a hybrid version.
Yep.
So he's very keen to push those along a bit as well. So interesting times.
Yeah, good. Oh. Well, I mean, it's been a while since Tecnam have had representation in the UK, and now they have. That's a good thing. Good thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm doing the next story as well, by the look of it.
Yes. The other day.
This is the one. This is about Travis Ludlow, the 18-year-old pilot. Here he is in his Cessna. He's set off to fly around the world in a bid to become the youngest person ever to fly around the world. He's got until mid-July to achieve it because that's his birthday. Then he won't be the youngest person anymore. And he was going to do it last year, but unfortunately, COVID and all that kind of stuff. And he had some problems over at aircraft. So he's set off today from Wickham Air Park, Booker, and his first stop was the Netherlands, an airport called Turge. What? Turga? How'd you get that? Anyway, okay, Turga.
Teuge.
That's it. Yes, that's Turge to me. Anyway,
Turge. Is it with a Dutch accent? Come on, Dave.
Toyage. Okay, right. We won't go there. Anyway, he's going there because the people who prepared his aircraft, a company called Hangar One, they're based there, and there's a few little tweaks they need to do. Otherwise, then he's off around the world at high speed, trying to break the record. I did come up with
It's not going to be high speed.
It's not going to be high speed in the Cessna 172. No, it is a diesel. So I did come up with this great headline: "Teenage kicks right through the flight."
Very good.
Yes. Oh, I thought anyway.
Votes on the quality of its headline out there, people.
It is good. Yeah. Just a thing on Travis's age. You mentioned his birthday. Travis's birthday is in February, and he's only got until the end of July, because the person whose record he's trying to beat is something like 18 years and 200 odd days. So he needs to not be older than that by the time he finishes his circumnavigation. So.
Yes, that's exactly right.
It's a challenge. He's got a small. He's up against it a bit, but let's see how he does.
Last week he was doing his A levels.
It's amazing, yeah. And he's been if you watch him on Facebook, he's been flying pretty much every night that he can. He was aiming to have a certain number of hours by the time he left. So, and I think he hit that target.
So he's in an NREG aircraft, and he'll be flying an NREG aircraft around the world with FAA certificates, because I know he went to America to get his instrument rating. So, I mean, had he been doing that in January, that would have been much, much trickier, wouldn't it? This January, the CA would have said, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. If you want to follow him on Twitter, and this is his Twitter handle, the snappy around T 606955534.
Or you have just Google around the
world.
Or
Google around the world solo. Yeah, definitely.
There you go. I'm going to take it off screen before you got a chance to copy it. Right, we need to move on because time is pressing.
Time ticks. Me next. So yes, Avionics, the company behind the AV30 and AV20 instruments, and obviously Sky Echo as well, have got the STC from the UK CAA that allows you to fit the certified version of the AV30, the C, into a whole bunch of different aeroplanes. So there's a large list now. So if you fancying an AV30 for your panel, and it's obviously got things like angle of attack, and all sorts of other stuff, and it will eventually connect to the UAvionics Tailbee Connect, which gives you the chance to control a Mode S transponder. So you can now fit that. So Tailbee Connect's approval. I spoke to the UK rep earlier before we came on, and that's still working its way through the approval process. So.
Okay.
Good. Well, in less that which is great. It's great news. I mean, there was. We won't go into another rant about why the fact that the STC wasn't recognised by the CA when they said before Christmas that they would recognise STCs like that, but that's all part of the best place in the world for Germany. Anyway, moving on to some less good news. We've got a company in the US called Aerion. Aerion set out to build a supersonic business jet. I think they've been at it since 2003. They're backed a little bit by Boeing. They've got partnerships with Honeywell to deliver supersonic engines. One of their claims was there was going to be no two places on Earth that were more than 3 hours apart, which is kind of suggests they've never been around the M25, doesn't it? But anyway, there you go. Unfortunately, last week, due to COVID and all sorts of other things, they kind of said, we've run out of money, and they must have burned through a huge amount of money. And so they've ceased operations. So that's one of the, I think it was pretty serious stuff with all the people involved, but no more. So that appears to be a bit of it stopped. There you go. So there was the kind of 3-engine one. There was an early.
It went through a few configurations. It has been a bit Jerry Anderson like, this still leaves the Boom supersonic. airliner that Virgin have apparently placed an order for, and that they're still forging ahead. They're due to fly a technology demonstrator, aren't they? So
Well, NetJets placed an order for. Well, actually, they didn't. That's not true. NetJets.
Did they sign the letter?
Yeah, basically, NetJets sent a letter saying, who knows what the letter said, but it was one of those things. Oh, look, NetJets are going to buy 50 of these things, or however many it was. And NetJets probably sent a letter going, if it meets the things, and if we might look at it and buy some. One of those things designed just to make investors happy, I guess. Who knows? I don't think I'm going to get in trouble for saying that. Anyway, Dave, tell us about the Air League.
The Air League has just announced their 2021 scholarships and bursaries. There's a whole bunch of them available for some free flying. There's a 12-hour flying scholarship. There's also flying bursaries, which provide a shorter amount of time for advanced flyer training. For some of them, there's age limits, 18 to 35, in other words, very young people. And for others, there's no age limits. There's also some gliding scholarships and some engineering scholarships. So the Air League's job, well, their sort of motive is to get people, younger people mostly, interested in a career in aviation. And this, all these scholarships and bursaries are available at the moment. And you need to complete the application forms by the 14th of June. So if you know somebody who is keen to get into aviation, then steer them towards the Air League website. Just Google it, you'll find it. And but you have to do it by the 14th of June. So it's sounds like
lots
quite a good thing, really.
Lots of them. So
Lots of them, yeah.
More
than 100, in fact.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Amazing. Ed.
Me. Yes. So sadly, yes. Sorry, I was reading a comment. Someone said, Graham Park said, I wonder when we'll get a supersonic airliner. You go, oh yeah, 1969. Sad news. Obviously, we've heard it was posted on Facebook and talked about in the Flyer Forum. The operator of Chiltern Airports, Dennis Pearson, posted on their Facebook page this week to say that Chiltern Park Aerodrome will close on the 24th of September. He said, today is a sad day for Julie and I. We officially signed off the end of 33 years of aviation at CPA. The final day of flying will be Sunday, the 19th of September. And we will hold a farewell fly-in barbecue over the August bank holiday. So talk of closure there began in July last year, when I think the landowner gave the Pearsons notice to leave. And I know Dennis was looking at making an application to make Chiltern Park Aerodrome an asset of community value, but I'm guessing that didn't play out. So yet again, we're looking at losing another airfield.
Yeah. However, we are gaining potentially the UK from space. Grant Shapps has announced that they're putting legislation before Parliament to make it easier to apply to become a spaceport. So I think we're going to have one in Cornwall, Wales, Scotland, and in a burst of, we can do it. We can become the best place in the world for European space launches. We're going to become the aim is to become the first European launch, or the first. That's not European political. That's European geographic. First satellite launch from Europe. Frankly, I don't know that much about space, nor about spaceports, but I'm guessing it would be Newquay. Anyone know the one in Wales?
Yeah.
Do they have drones in space yet?
No. Well, drones. Anything goes with drones, doesn't it? So drones in space. That one that flew from Goodwood nearly ended up in space.
It did, didn't it?
The rockets can say hello as they go past.
Yeah. Good. Well, there you go. So that's what's happening there. So that's some good stuff. And I think, Dave.
Oh yes. So big weekend on the Isle of Wight. It's the weekend of what they call Spanfield. This used to be a microlight only event, but as Dan Subbani, the manager of Sandown Airport, explained to me a bit earlier, they've now widened it to anybody can fly in. It's still going to be a mostly microlight event, but you can fly in. Anyway, this is what Dan had to say. Okay, Dan, so you've got a huge weekend coming up. And the weather forecast looks good, but this weekend is the Spanfield, the annual microlight fly-in, and you've got something else going on as well. So it's going to be a really busy weekend. How are you prepared for it?
Well, I mean, you know, obviously Sandown's quite a busy place anyway. We're quite used to it. You know, we were averaging 100 aircraft a day last year with, I think the peak was 170 aircraft in 4 hours. So I think we're quite used to it. It's just everyone's got to get back in the rhythm of things. So lots of planning. You know, we've just thrown a curveball in this year because we've also got a helicopter in Jet Ranger doing 400 pleasure flights at the same time. So I've just been designing a separate circuit for them to keep them away from all the microlights and stop them flipping people over.
So you'll have all your usual fantastic food available?
Oh, absolutely. We've sold now 900 pizzas in 4 weeks from our wood-burning pizza oven, and we've got lots of sizzler dishes, and we've been inviting lots of chickens in. They're easy to get in, but they'll never leave, so they'll be going on the rotisserie barbecue as well. We've got band playing and late bar, and yeah, we're going to have a bit of fun for a change.
How many microlight pilots do you think will be flying in?
I think we can expect probably 200, 250. But it's not just, you see, I've changed Spanfield somewhat in that I don't like the them and us. Aviation is aviation. You know, I fly a CTSW. Is it a microlight? Is it general aviation? What is it? It's all general aviation. So we've not closed the doors to any other aircraft type. So, you know, we'll probably have 300 planes in it.
So what advice could you give to any pilot thinking of flying in?
Okay, so obviously people haven't flown very much. COVID, weather, home lives and things. It's really important that people keep their eyes open. People don't make waffly radio calls. This is a biggie because we'll be broadcasting the airfield information on a regular basis. They need to listen to what other people are saying. We need to know your aircraft registration, your aircraft type, and your location. That's it. And other people will listen to that and they can assess where people are. You know, we could have 30, 40 people joining. We could have 20 in the circuit. So your radio is vital. If in doubt, go away and start again. There's no point in being scared because of the amount of traffic here. Go away, have a look at the beautiful Isle of Wight for 10 minutes, and then come back and rejoin the circuit. But the radio is essential that you do not keep talking on it. Some people just waffle and waffle and waffle. Don't do it. Listen, keep a good lookout.
So what facilities will you have available at the weekend?
We've got showers, toilets, barbecue, bar, all the usual down facilities. Barbecue, pizzas, lovely people, lots of aircraft, lots of fun, and free abuse with every landing. 2 minutes extra for Northerners, by the way.
Okay, so it's on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, that's correct?
It's the whole weekend, so we don't mind when people arrive. It's £25, covers the entire weekend. That helps us pay for the toilets and all the extra staff and things. It's also vital that we've still got some COVID-19 legislation in place. You know, the virus hasn't gone away, so the social distancing is still important. We have to provide table service, unfortunately. So the legislation is you must be seated when you order and you must be seated when you consume. So what we've done is to stay within the legislation. I mean, it's nonsense. We can't walk 500 meters away and provide table service. So you'll need to sit at a table by the till to place your order, give us a table number, and then we'll bring food and drink out to you. So that keeps us legal. But, you know, the safety is vital. So social distancing, wipe down any surfaces if you use our toilets. We provide wipes for that. And, you know, keep people safe like you did last year. I mean, you know, the pilots are safe people. We proved it last year without a doubt.
So what's your capacity for aircraft? How many aircraft could you have on the ground at any one time?
You could ask me that at the end of June. We've got a flamping weekend, which is camping and flying. I mean, we've got nearly 400 aircraft booked in for that.
Great. Okay. Well, anything else to say about the weekend?
Come in, be safe, keep your eyes open, listen to the radio, don't waffle on the radio, and do not be afraid to go around or go away for a few minutes. It's going to be busy. Don't be nervous. We're very friendly here. You're not going to get told off for very much unless you do go around the circuit the wrong way. And don't loiter on the runway or taxiways, please.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Dan. Have a great weekend.
Wow.
Right. Well, now it must be time for the right stuff.
So, joining us tonight for the interview with Ian and for the Right Stuff quiz right now is pilot Stephen Robinson. Stephen, good evening.
Good evening. How are you, Ed?
I'm very good, thanks. So, I'm guessing from the accent, you're from up north.
Do I give it away? Is the accent that strong? It is. And I don't really try and hide my accent. Yes, I'm a Leeds man, born and bred, up here in West Yorkshire.
Excellent, excellent. So before I hand you over to Ian, I'm going to have to give you the Flyer Right Stuff quiz. So it's 10 questions, quick fire. We always had a timer, but no one could ever hear it, so you won't hear anything. So, but are you ready for your 10 quick fire questions?
I am. I'm looking forward to this. It's a little bit like psychotherapy, isn't it? But I'm ready.
Well, no one's ever described it like that, but let's hope it's better than that.
Okay.
Are you ready? Here we go. High wing or low wing?
Low wing.
Grass or hard?
Oh, grass.
Glass cockpit or steam gauges?
Oh, that's a difficult one. Steam gauges.
Car, motorbike or aeroplane?
Oh, the whole lot.
One-arm bandit or jukebox?
Oh, now that's too difficult. I do like my one-arm bandits, but I really love my jukeboxes. I have more one-arm bandits than jukeboxes, so we'll go one-arm bandits, but jukeboxes, yeah, difficult, that one.
Okay, stick or yoke?
Stick, definitely stick.
North up or track up?
North up.
Public speaking or writing a book?
Oh, public speaking. Writing a book is pretty hard, I'll tell you.
Going through or round controlled airspace?
I like to go through it, but often I go around it.
Paper chart or tablet?
Oh, I like my tablet.
Ian, how did Steve... Blimey, we got another stinger.
That bit wasn't supposed to happen.
No. Did you have some finger trouble?
Yeah, basically. Cut a long story short, I was hovering in the wrong place. Steve did pretty well. He clearly got the north up one wrong because everyone knows that track up is the only true way to fly.
Well, I'm up north, you see, so I had to say that.
Yeah. Okay,
If
fair
you
enough.
said
You
south
probably,
down.
in the old days,
south down or north up.
No, track up. Track up's the only way to go. Track up's the only way to go. Anyway, because of that, I'm gonna have to take away points for that, even though a load of people don't like me doing it. But there is only one way. So you got a score of 85 in the right stuff, which is pretty bloody good. Well done.
Quite good. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on. So Stephen Robinson, hello, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Perhaps we should kind of. I think we first met in a hotel in Leeds, which sounds dodgier than it was.
It was quite a posh hotel, though. Let's say it was a Hilton, so not so dodgy. But it was a strange approach from me, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think you came up to me and went, I've only got one arm and I want to fly, or something like that.
Do you know the amount of people I said that to, hoping that somebody would say, oh, well, we know somebody that can help you with that. And it just never happened. I thought, how am I going to be a pilot? How is this going to happen? Who's going to help me? Who will help pay for it? You know, you're hoping you get sponsorship. And eventually you realize the only person that's going to help pay for it is yourself. And as soon as you realize that and you buckle down, you think, well, I'll do it myself. And then you realize you have to start jumping through everybody's hurdles, because every time you move to a different flying instructor, they always want you to prove what they think you can't do. So you're having to prove it every time. And you think, here we go again. And so it gets quite monotonous after a while. But then once you realize that you've got to do that and you accept it, then the quicker you can move on. So I did approach you. And I suppose I wanted to know people in the aviation world as well, because I didn't know anybody in the aviation world.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a long time ago. I remember. So let's just turn the clock back and go to the beginning. So let's not beat around the bush here. How did you end up with one arm?
So, well, you might as well not beat around the bush. You know, you've got to get in there. I lost it in a motorbike accident. I used to do motocrossing and trials riding, and that was my escape from the bullies because I was really badly bullied at school. So I started riding a motorbike at the age of 13. And at the age of 18, I was riding quite powerful motorbikes and doing lots of stunts and motocrossing. And I was out one day just practicing. And another couple of guys were out that I didn't even know were on the field at the same time as me. And they were racing each other and must not have seen me approaching a blind hill, and I didn't see them. One of the guys must have, because he turned off. And the other guy, we can only think, tried to do a daredevil type stunt and jump over the top of me and my motorbike on his bike, but he couldn't make the jump. And instead he landed on top of me and his foot peg just ripped my arm off there and then. And then the motorbike went into my chest and did loads and loads of internal injuries. And I woke up in hospital with them saying, you've lost your right arm. And of course, you never believe that, do you? When someone says you've lost an arm and you can feel it. So nobody prepares you for it. By the way, if you lose a limb, you'll still be able to feel it. It won't work. You're just not prepared for that.
Wow. So I mean, that at 18, that must have been a pretty severe blow, as it were, to say the least.
Well, a lot of people say to me, it must have been totally devastating. And I've got to be 100% honest with you. I was okay by it. It didn't faze me at all. I was all right. And I think the reason why I was okay is because I had really bad acne and I'd suffered at the hands of the bullies due to all this bad acne. And when I'd gone into hospital, because I'd been laid up in intensive care for a while, they have to give you loads of antibiotics and medication to stop you from getting infection because, of course, your arm's being pulled off. You've got all this internal injury. And all those antibiotics and that medication they gave me cleared up all my acne. So when I saw my face for the first time in the mirror, I was overjoyed. I thought, wow, my acne's gone. And it seemed a fair trade that I'd lost an arm. I was okay about the arm because I was so overjoyed that I'd lost my acne. That seemed to be the only thing that was, importance to me. And I was always okay. And the nurses and the doctors expected me to break down and realize at some point that I'd lost an arm. Well, that's 39 years ago. And I'm still waiting for that moment for it to hit me. Because wow. It never has done. You know, it's not what you've lost, is it? It's what you've got that you've got to concentrate on. So I didn't concentrate on losing an arm. I concentrated on all the wonderful things that lie ahead of me. Saying that, I'd lost a lot of good opportunities for work as well. I had job opportunities in the Formula One pits because I trained as a motor mechanic, and I was a top student where I was training. There we go. Look at that. I was quite a fashionable guy there in those jogging pants. But the moustache is a bit dated.
Who told you that, Stephen?
Well, I tell myself that because nobody else tells me it. So I just tell myself that, you know, in the hope that one day I'll believe what I'm telling myself. And I also wanted to join the RAF, and I had a job lined up there in the RAF to be a technician on helicopters. And aircraft never really factored into it. I never even thought about flying. It was never on my radar. I just didn't. Even a kid from a council estate where I came from, and a really poor kid, and went to a really, really rubbish school. We didn't get even told about things like being a pilot and doing things like that. Your job, they would say to you, is you're going to work in a tannery, or you're going to work in a factory, or you'll do some manual labor, and that's all. So you never realize that these great, fantastic jobs are out there.
So tell us about your flying then. When you I'm going to jump from 18 to how old were you? How old were you when you actually started to learn to fly?
So wow, it was 2012. So that's a little bit of mathematics, isn't it? So that's I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Well, I would have been in my 40s. Let's work that out. Late 40s, yeah, late 40s. And I didn't really want to learn to fly, if I'm honest with you. And I was afraid of flying. In fact, I needed 3 weeks hypnotherapy to fly to Spain with some friends. I was petrified. And I'd be the guy that would be praying all the way there, don't let the aircraft crash. And I was terrified. I kept hearing all these noises, clunks and everything, and engines roaring, and then saying, we're going to go around and think, what the hell's going on? And I didn't want to be afraid of flying. And one day I saw this scholarship, and it was online. I was on Facebook, and it said flying scholarship for disabled people. And I thought to myself, I bet that could cure my fear of flying. So I applied. And at that point, I was in a real bad position because I'd just gone through 6 years of litigation and death threats because somebody stole my copyright of a digital jukebox that I created. So I was really low and really down. And I thought, well, I'll apply for this flying scholarship. I thought, what's the worst it can do? Kill me. And I thought, well, I was okay with that at that point. I was prepared to risk my life to do something really to save my life. Because, you know, if you've got a new dream and a new goal and it consumes you, you can forget about all the other stuff that's going on. So I applied for the flying scholarship, and to my surprise, I was awarded it. And I was awarded it by Prince Faisal of Jordan down at Riyadh at the Royal International Air Tattoo. So I started flight training. Well, I was due to start flight training in 2012 because that's when I was awarded the scholarship. But because of the aircraft I was going to fly was a yoke, and having a prosthetic arm didn't work with a yoke. And so they said to me, you'd have to get a prosthetic arm made, because I didn't have one at that point, but they said I would need one for this yoke aircraft. So it took, I think, 12 months to get that prosthetic arm made, which delayed the start of flight training. And when it was done, it didn't work. So we had to go back to the drawing board and get another prosthetic arm made, and that didn't work either. At which point I'm pretty down, thinking, what do I do? So I decided I would make my own prosthetic arm. And a friendly guy at the local airfield, at Sherburn Airfield near Leeds, said to me, you're flying the wrong aircraft. You don't want to fly a yoke. He said, you need to fly a stick. And he said, get in this aircraft and just sit in this aircraft. And everything seemed really interesting and really easy to control. I had a stick, there was a throttle. All I had to do now was come up with an idea how I could attach my body to the throttle. So now I had the stick and I could just move the throttle around. And that's when I came up with the idea of my prosthetic arm. And that prosthetic arm just attaches to the throttle. So when I move my body around, it adjusts the throttle. And it worked really well, really well. I designed a telescopic forearm, so when I unlock it, and I can move around without affecting the throttle. And when I lock the forearm, any movement of my body now is transferred through to the throttle. So I just lock it for takeoff and then unlock during mid-flight, and then I lock it when I'm on final approach for landing.
So you mean that's not a selfie stick?
No, that big metal thing on the side, that's not a selfie stick. That's a really weighty prosthetic arm. That was Mark 1 that I made, and that was aluminium, and that weighed a lot. The only problem is, of course, you can't do aerobatics with that. But I never wanted to do aerobatics anyway. So it was okay until I was approached by the Davina McCall show. And they said, would I make a pledge for their show? And I said, yes, what do you want me to do? Ride a horse around the field? Or, because I'd taken up horse riding as well, which I was afraid of. And she said, no. I said, would you want to land? Do you want me to land at like 5 airports in 5 hours or something like that? They said, no. I said, well, what do you want? They said, we want you to do aerobatics. I said, no. I said, you're having a laugh. I said, we call them scareobatics. I said, no, I don't want to do that. And they said to me, are you a motivational speaker? And I said, yeah. She said, don't you go around the world talking to people and saying how anything is possible? I said, yeah. And don't you talk about overcoming any fear by using exposure therapy? At which point I realized I'd backed myself into a corner and I had to say yes to the challenge. So I took flight training for aerobatics, but it terrified me. The first time I had to do any maneuver, I was petrified. And it was only a steep turn, but we pulled 2.5 G in a steep turn. I thought, I don't like this. And I said, take me back to the airfield. And the instructor, we were going back to the airfield. And I said to him, before we got there, I said, I've got to do this, haven't I? He said, well, if you want to do your pledge for the TV program for this time next year, he said, you do really? So I said, right, okay. I said, let's go do it. And let's just go and do the loop. Because he said that was the thing we should do first. And of course, that was terrifying. But when I came over the top and you look back like you do, and you see the ground, and you come out and you pull that G, you thought, wow, this is absolutely amazing. And I loved it. I really loved it. And I never thought I would like it. I mean, this is something I was petrified of. I was terrified of just going to Spain in a big jet. And now I'm throwing this little aircraft around. I thought, wow, this is brilliant.
So
it's amazing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Amazing. I did have a picture, but I can't find it at the moment of you pulling over the top of a loop, unfortunately.
Yeah, there is one somewhere.
It's a little bit annoying on my part, so I do apologise for that. There is one somewhere. It's just not on the screen because I was an idiot. But anyway, so you mentioned motivational speaking there. Is that kind of what is that your main gig, as it were? They say. Yeah,
well, I drifted into that, and I drifted into that really because I'd done so many different things throughout my life, and I did speak there as well at Oshkosh. Thanks to you guys. I think you put me in touch with the guys over there at Oshkosh. That was brilliant. I'd never seen so many aircraft in one place and so many people. I mean, the audience they had was absolutely phenomenal. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. And it was amazing. But I drifted into motivational speaking quite by accident. And that's because I'd done all these different things. Because I invented a digital jukebox. I went to university late at the age of 35. And because I was getting out of my interest in jukeboxes and slot machines, because I wanted to get away from this, because they were getting heavy. But really, I guess it was me that was getting older. This is one I've just restored, by the way, during lockdown. It's really phenomenal. 1954. It's gorgeous. But I was getting out of the vintage jukeboxes, so I went to university, and I developed a digital jukebox while I was at university, and that jukebox earned me a lot of money. And I sold, I think it was 400 jukeboxes in the first 8 months of trading. But then I ended up in litigation and death threats, and that's how I ended up being with a flight training. And it was just because I guess I wasn't worried at that point. I thought my life was over anyway because I'd lost all my wealth. I'd lost everything. But fortunately, during the good times, I'd invested my money into property and I became a residential landlord. So I now own 10 properties, and I still do the vintage jukeboxes, and I still do digital jukeboxes. And then I was doing the flying. Then I made the prosthetic arm. Then I did this, and I did all these sorts of things. So somebody approached me and they said, "You should be a motivational speaker. You've done a lot of things." And I said, "But doesn't everybody do these things that I'm doing?" And apparently they don't. But I thought they did. So that's what led me into the world of being a motivational speaker. And that's what ultimately led me to Oshkosh, thanks to you. Because you put me in touch with the guys over there.
I think that was Ed. I think Ed did that.
Yeah, he was Ed. He was one of you guys, for sure, yes.
Yeah, no, it was. So apart from I've got another thing here, the one-armed bandits. Tell us about those.
Oh, the one-armed bandits. So it's a bit of a joke, really, but it's not. Those one-armed bandits are absolutely phenomenal. They're all 1930s. I've got some 1920s as well. I just love these type of things. And I have to wonder whether I took up this hobby of restoring vintage one-armed bandits because I had a little bit of affinity with them because they only had one arm. I have to think that. And it's the left arm as well, same as me. And I have to think, is that why I got involved with them? But I don't know why I got involved with them. I just love anything old and mechanical. And I'm a bit of a hobbyist engineer. That's why I made the prosthetic arm. And I like restoring stuff. So I restore the old vintage jukeboxes, the old mechanical one-arm bandits. I've got 6 or 7 vintage motorbikes. I just enjoy repairing and restoring old stuff. And of course, it gets me back in touch with my engineering background when I trained to be a motor mechanic. So it's all very similar. So I just love that. But I have sold some one-arm bandits in the past, and I do regret selling them because I feel a little bit like my treasure. Some people collect jewelry and gold and diamonds, and that's their treasure. Well, my treasure is one-armed bandits and jukeboxes.
Brilliant. So you tend to sell the jukeboxes, but not the one-armed bandits, or do you collect the jukeboxes as well?
Well, yeah, I'm a very bad dealer, really, or a very bad businessman when it comes to jukeboxes and one-armed bandits, because I just want to keep everything. I'm really bad. I mean, the jukeboxes, that one I've just restored, and I restored that one during lockdown, is now in my workshop, all covered up and wrapped up, but it sounds phenomenal. And if you'd seen it when I bought it, you wouldn't have even given it garden space. But the fact that it's so beautiful and sparkling and sounds brand new, I'll struggle to sell that. I mean, it'll sell for somewhere in the region of £10,000 to £12,000. But even if somebody comes along and says, "Well, here's your 12,000, or even here's 15,000," I will struggle to sell it because that represents a whole year's work. And you think, because I'm not quick, of course, having one arm, I'm quite slow, but I'm really methodical and I really pay attention to detail and take my time with stuff. So I end up spending way too much time than I should on a restoration. And of course, you can never get your money back for your time you spent on them. So I'm always reluctant to sell them, even if I get a good price. I never want to let them go.
Fair enough. Now, talking of spending a whole lot of time, I'm going to guess that this took you rather a long time.
That took me a long time, and I just got a box full of them yesterday, as it happens, and I've got one there. Look, yeah,
wow.
Can you see it? There.
Yeah.
Now, initially, I had a different picture on the cover, but I looked a little bit like a hypnotist. And I really like that pilot picture with the sunglasses. And people say, you can't wear sunglasses on a book cover. You've got to show your eyes. And I said, no, they're aviation glasses. I want the aviation look. So that did take a long time. And I guess that has taken me roughly 3 years, maybe even a little bit longer. And I say that because I started, obviously, 3 years ago. And I got a lot of the book done. But then we got locked down. And I thought, well, what am I going to do now? And I actually had 34 chapters. And I said to my publisher, Well, I thought we were releasing it on the 19th of April. It's going to be, because that was the day I lost my right arm, and we were going to release on the 19th of April 2 years ago, but we couldn't. I think it was it wasn't ready then, and then COVID arrived, and I said, well, what are we going to do? And she said, well, we can't do anything for a while. I said, there's no paper, there's no ink, there's nobody working. She said, write some more chapters. So I did. I had 34 initially. I think there's now 57.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a lot more to say. And every time I speak to my publisher, she'll say things like, why didn't you put that in? Because I'll mention something else. And she'll say, you didn't mention that in your book. And I said, well, I can't mention everything. It'd be the War and Peace of Stephen Robinson.
So just let me flash this up on screen. If you want to get a copy of that book, Stephen's book, www.stephen-robinson.com. And I think if you get one of those fine-looking books from your website, Stephen, you'll even sign it.
I will sign it, yeah. And if you tell me what you want me to sign, I'll even put that in. But keep it clean.
Definitely. I have to say, it's been absolutely fascinating. Thank you very much for joining us. I think next time we're up north, we might have to come and have a poke around your workshop, see some of your motorbikes, see some of your jukeboxes, see some of your funny, and it'd be great to share whatever it is you eat up north.
Oh, well, Yorkshire pudding, of course.
Yorkshire pudding. There you go.
Where'd you fly from, Steve?
From Sherburn and Helmet. Are you going to fly up and we'll share a bacon sandwich? I mean, it'd be an expensive bacon sandwich for you guys, but it won't cost me that much.
That seems like a reasonable deal.
Yeah, we'll do that. We look forward to doing that. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Don't forget, everyone out there, if you want to get a copy of the book, it's www.stephen-robinson.com, or you can get it from Waterstones or Amazon and stuff like that. But get a signed one from Stephen. Why not? I'll jump on the internet later on. Thank you very much, Stephen. And
thanks, Ian. Thanks, guys.
Look forward to catching up with you up at Sherburn one day.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Hopefully not too far in the distant future.
Hopefully not. No, I'll buy you a bacon butty. Well, there you go. Even better.
Looking forward to that. Even now, I can't wait.
Thanks very much.
Excellent.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.
Amazing guy.
Fantastic guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
And lots of love in the comments. You know, Stephen is a really fantastic speaker, and it was brilliant to. I literally emailed one person and just he's like, I'd really like to speak at Oshkosh or go to Oshkosh, and so I pointed him out that direction, and before I knew it, he was on one of the programs there. So.
I forgot to tell you, I was talking to him about his trip to Oshkosh, and he was saying when he went over, he hadn't quite got around. He looked at all the hotels and said, that costs an absolute bloody fortune, even if they're in Appleton or something many miles away. So went on a website which is like, I can't remember, like Sofa Surfer or something like that. He sent a message to someone. He goes, hey, can I sleep on your sofa? And he ended up just sleeping on a random person's sofa for 3 nights.
Yeah.
Just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, super guy. So anyway, it must be time for...
It must be time for Fantasy Hangar, which means I need to press this button.
So, we caught Dave drinking. There we go. It's not that long a stinger.
So what's the subject this week then?
So this week, after hearing that Italian aircraft manufacturer Tecnam have a new UK agent, we thought, the Italians make some great aircraft. So we tasked ourselves with picking our favourite Italian aeroplanes to go in our fantasy hangar. If you've got a choice, stick it in the comments. We'll see what you came up with. But in the meantime, who's first?
I think I'm first this week. I'm first.
Oh.
And I picked this P-55 Tornado, Partenavia. This was created by the Pascali brothers, Luigi and Giovanni. The same Luigi's the professor. I can't do the Italian accent. The professor, I should say, at Tecnam, who sadly died in 2017, aged 93. Designed a huge amount of aircraft, all of the Tecnam aircraft, Partenavia aircraft, and stuff like this. This was built to enter the Sicilian air race, which it won, I think, in the 50s. Luigi won that. Unfortunately, there's only one air of these built. It had a 150 horsepower Lycoming in the front, mid-wing cantilever, obviously. And top speed was something like 187 knots, which is pretty impressive out of 150 horsepower. I think you agree. So there you go. No color pictures that I could find, but P55 Tornado would sit very, very nicely in my fantasy hangar.
That looks, that's the kind of thing that would sit there in the corner and people would go, "What's that?" I think that's the thing with fancy hangar. It's things that stir people's soul. So that's very cool. Looks like a small wing on it though.
It does look. I mean, there are no secrets to going fast, are there? Really?
No.
You either need like big engines or not very much drag.
Yes.
Or both, in fact.
Yeah. Is it? Who's next? Is it Dave?
It's me.
Let me have a look. It is Dave. Dave,
and I have probably chosen the obvious choice, but it is such a wonderful aeroplane. It's a C.O. Marchetti SF-260. This is a very nice example. I happen to know the chap who's got this, and he's also got a Ferrari Daytona, and this is a very lovely aeroplane. The SF-260 is obviously designed by Stelvio Frati, probably one of the most famous Italian designers of high-performance sporting aeroplanes. He designed the Falco, something called the Picchio, and the Livio.
Yeah.
There's a naming thing going on there. It was made its first flight in 1966, when it was then called the C.O. Marchetti. But in 1997, it became C.O. Marchetti was absorbed by Air Macchi. Air Macchi was famous once for making motorbikes. Anyway, Air Macchi overhauled the design and made it a whole lot better. And they've actually delivered 900 of those aircraft now. So I think it's still in production, although I couldn't actually check that on the Leonardo website. But they, up until at least 10 years ago, they were still making the aeroplane. It's fast. It's got a 260 horsepower Lycoming 0540 at the front. And did you know that in 1967 it had a price tag of £8,400? It's close to £1 million now.
I was going to say, how much was a house at that time? Probably £8,400.
It's a gorgeous airplane.
It's very nice. It's
very nice. It's no P55 Tornado, but it's very nice.
Yeah, and you get Italian styling with rarity. Dave's is Italian styling, and there's lots of them. However, none of you have a choice as good as mine, and mine's already been suggested in the comments. And it's not the Falco, though the Falco got mentioned a lot, and I'm surprised none of us picked it, because that is quintessential, beautiful Italian aeroplane. However, I went for the Piaggio Royal Gull. I haven't got a seaplane in my fancy hangar, but if I was going to have one, it would be this. This flew in 1948, but looks like it was a product of the 60s. It's a stunning design. That lovely cranked wing, pusher engine, seats 5, cruises at 145 knots, 2 340 horsepower Lycomings. This is just a beautiful seaplane, and that just looks magic. And there's a few people saying Dave wins, but there's been at least one person suggesting my seaplane. So
Dave wins. How many people have been suggesting?
There's a lot of Dave wins, but clearly these people are wrong.
No imagination. I should say that Johnny actually called in and gave us his choice.
Yes,
for the Italian airplane.
Yeah, we were shocked really, and we're questioning whether Johnny should return next week.
I think on form like this, he probably shouldn't. It's a Piaggio.
Yes,
and here it is, the Piaggio flying car.
Is that their new eVTOL?
I think so. Yeah,
it's a flying car, flying van.
Yeah, definitely. Can the viewers be confident that this was actually Johnny's choice and not our choice to make Johnny look bad?
No, it was definitely Johnny's choice.
Yeah, because he's not here to defend himself.
He's not here to defend himself.
If you're watching this, Johnny, I know you're gripping the desk, going, "Oh, those guys!" Oh.
Cool. Okay, time marching on, and it's already it's gone 8:30. Blimey.
Right.
Right, what's going on events-wise, Dave?
We've got a whip through these. Well, it's a busy bank holiday weekend. Obviously, there's Spanfield at Sandown, so be prepared if you're flying down south for hard work controllers at Solent. There's the Airability Armchair Air Show live from Biggin Hill on Saturday. And there's, if you go to the Flyer website, you can see a link. Perth having a fly-in. Glen Falls is having a fly-in. Looking a bit further ahead, July the 3rd, just a reminder, is the Flyer Club fly-in at Slape. Of course, the real event is that the sun is out.
I know.
Oh.
I went flying in a t-shirt today and had to pick a hat up because it was too hot in the cockpit.
Wow.
I know.
Shocking.
So now it's over to Johnny to talk about the club. Oh,
okay.
Sorry, he's not here. So I better carry on in that case. So tell you about the club. If you're not a member of the Flyer Club, you need to join because there's all sorts of things that we do for you and give you free landing fees, for instance. If you want to join, all you have to do is go to the Flyer website, click on the tab called Flyer Club, and it will take you to a page where you have to pay £7.50 per minute. Per month.
That's the other. I think the £7.50 a minute, Dave, is the other site you visit.
That's it. Yeah.
Per quarter. That's right. £7.50 per quarter.
Yeah, channeling your inner Johnny there.
Moving on, QSY, I think.
No, we got Ed's got to remind people to send in pictures.
This is tough because we're trying to pick up the slack where Johnny's missing. Obviously, send us photos. Just visit the website because I can't remember what the email is. I'll have to dig it out. But obviously, send us your photos of flying. We'll put as many as we can into the magazine. So we want to see you flying, see what you're up to, see the places you visited, the airplanes you're flying, and the friends you're flying with. So send us those photos, and we'll make as much space as we can. So. I'll try and remember. There's an address for that. I'll try and find it.
Okay, well let's let Dave talk about the blades on bikes while you see if you can try and find it.
Okay.
Oh blimey! Am I doing this? All right. Okay.
Surprise.
Well, this is the aerobatic team, the Blades, who have just done a cycle riding tour of Lincolnshire. To raise some money for the RAF Benevolent Fund. Now, interesting, I didn't know this until the Blades told us about this. There's a story about it on the website. But the RAF Benevolent Fund has a big cycle ride in July every year. And you can find out more about it on the Flyer website on the story. And it's called the Dam Busters Ride. And basically they go around a whole bunch of places that are linked to the Dam Busters. Sounds very good. Anyway, so that's Blades on Bikes. Ian, you're going to tell us about Charlton Park, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah. Charlton Park, just up the road from Malmesbury. Absolutely stunning looking gaff, isn't it? And it's got at least a couple of runways, I believe, that are very, very lovely, and you can land there. But I discovered this week there's actually a penthouse apartment for sale there. Yep, a 2-bedroom penthouse apartment with some rather glorious looking communal areas that are amazing. It's for sale through Savills. I think they wanted something like 660,000 or 680,000 or something like that. I did actually get in touch just to sort of see if I could arrange a viewing, but they clearly realised who I was and didn't get back to me very much. Well, they got back to me. Anyway, basically, runway access is not included. You can get a runway access by separate agreement with the estates office. No news on hangarage. I did ask that question as well. But go and have a look at Savills. If you fancy a large 2-bedroom apartment for the best part of 700 grand in a stately home like that with management and facilities fees of about 7.5 grand a year, then that could well be for you. Unfortunately, it's not for me, but you never know. If you're there, come and visit. It's
nearly a taste of air park living, but very classy.
Yeah, that's actually we should do a video on that. Air park living. Spruce Creek, this is what it's all about.
Stately home, yeah. Stately home with a strip.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great. And then
I've solved the email problem. I've just given Johnny's address out.
Great. Excellent.
Email Johnny. He'd love to get your pictures.
Yeah, and compliment him on his choice of Italian flying.
Yes.
Scene while you're there. Okay, who wants to talk about Merlin Labs?
I think I'm probably the only one who knows anything about this. This is a story that came out today. A company called Merlin Labs has worked out a way to make a Beech King Air fly itself. Their stated aim is to replace all the pilots in the world.
Yeah,
that's it.
Basically, and they're funded by. They got some Google funding as well, and they're going to equip a fleet of 55 King Airs for autonomous flight. I think the first thing they flew was it a Very-Ease or Long-Ease, some kind of canard-looking Burkett type airplane.
That's right. That was their first project.
And watch the video. There's some interesting video there. I'm not sure I like the idea of replacing all the pilots in the world, though. That's not so much good. Right. I think at this time, which is 10 minutes over, I'm really, really sorry. I'd like to thank everyone for sticking with us and watching it. I'd like to thank ForeFlight for their sponsorship of this. And don't forget www.flybysentry.com/flyer. Don't forget, if you want get a copy of Steve Robinson's book, it's www.steve-robinson.com. And the other most important thing for tonight is if you want to take part in the consultation, you've only got until midnight to do it. So go and have a read of the BMAA or the LAA stuff, and then reply to the consultation. So thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you next week. Goodbye.
See you all. Fly safe.
Bye.